Hi there, welcome back. Thanks so much for staying tuned to Market Fatafat. You're watching ET Now. Let me now bring on board our technical expert, Foram M.Chheda, founder at ChartAnalytics. Foram, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be coming to you shortly. Before that, I want to highlight another loser in today's trade, and that is SRF. And this is on the back of a downgrade note coming in from UBS this morning. UBS has gone ahead, downgraded the stock to a sell rating from a buy rating, so that's in fact a big downgrade coming in. They've cut the target price to 2,100 from 2,700 earlier, so a big price target cut also coming in for this stock. They believe that the company is seeing prolonged growth difficulties and negative surprises may also be on the path going ahead. They're also spotting weak agrochemical demand, with China to gain a share in this segment when it comes to comparison with the Indian group of companies. Refrigerant gas demand and prices are likely to remain soft is another headwind that UBS is flagging off, and they also see recovery hopes fading when it comes to SRF. So very bearish note coming in, a downgrade in the rating as well as a price cut also coming in from UBS, and on the back of that news flow, in fact on the back of that brokerage note, the stock is low by 2.5% as we speak.
Alright, so that is SRF, that is under pressure on back of that brokerage note. But let's shift focus, let's talk about earnings. Then you have Central Bank of India that came out with its earnings a short while ago. And if you look at the numbers, then you have the PAT that is coming higher by about 0.5% or so, sorry, it's about 50%, coming at around 913 crore rupees. You have the NI that saw a growth of about 12.6% on a year-on-year basis, coming in at around 3,410 crore rupees. If you talk about the provisions, a very healthy downtick coming in on the provisions number sequentially. So the provisions came in at around 341 crore rupees as against 1,322 crore rupees on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and that's why you saw the sharp spike in the stock, and now it's holding on to sharp gains of about 2.5%. Gross NPA has also seen a good downtick. If you see the net NPA, the net NPA has seen a good downtick, about 4 basis points on a quarter-on-quarter basis, while you've seen a mild bit of uptick in the gross NPA. But if you look at the number as a whole, a positive number, and that's reflecting in the stock price as we speak.
Absolutely, well, sharp spike coming in the stock post those earnings, almost 2.5% higher. But let's move on. Foram, you've picked out CAMS as your first stock on the chart for us. When I see these charts, last 1 year itself, the stock has almost doubled in price. What's the outlook going ahead, and do you think this rally could continue, this positivity could continue for the stock going ahead?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me on the show. Well, as you rightly mentioned that it has doubled. However, if you see, there has been marginally outperformance compared to its benchmark index as well. So overall, the stock is in a bullish trend. Now, technically speaking, in the past 3 months, the stock price had been consolidating in this 15% of range, that on the lower side 4,000 and on the higher side around 4,725. However, the stock has broken out today very well comfortably, and because of the market pressure, we are seeing that which was up around 2% is now around 0.5% up in the green. But once it's coming down back to the breakout levels, it's given a chance to even re-enter who has missed out or is looking at entering into the stock from an investment perspective. So according to me, it's quite bullish. Volumes are doing pretty well. So one can look at buying zones of closer to around 4,680 to 4,700. But a strict stop loss for people who are going to trade it closer to 4,684, and can look for a higher target of closer to around 5,400.
Alright, so that's all about CAMS. With Reliance Industries, Gaurav, this one has been making headlines of late, given the fact that it has been underperforming in the markets. But Reliance Industries, why in focus today?
Yes, Reliance Industries is in focus, and there are 2 reasons. First is that on October 28th, there is a record date that is fixed by Reliance Industries for bonus share, which will be in the ratio of 1:1. And other than that, today DAM Capital initiated a report with buy rating and a target price of 3,042 rupees. What they are saying is that the company is actually building its pillar of growth in the form of new energy segment. They are saying that there are some short-term challenges when we talk about O2C businesses, but if we keep them aside, all the businesses are expected to grow over the next couple of years. They are expecting company to report EBITDA growth of around 13% over the next 2 years. And lastly, they also believe that the rationalization in the retail is key, and over and about demand should pick up from here on because it is now bottoming out. Geo continues to be one of the strengths and one of the key metrics for the company, and as it says, new energy capex will start delivering the results from next year. As we talk in the morning, the stock was up almost by 0.5%. Now it has given up some of the gains, but definitely watching out on this counter, as we know that this counter has been underperforming Nifty in this year.
Absolutely, right now very flat, but there is good sentiment around that bonus issue record date that the company has gone ahead and confirmed. But let's move on, talk about a stock that is doing well for itself, in fact, in today's trade, and that is Rail Vikas Nigam, which is RVNL. Remember, the stock is as high as 4% in today's trade because the company has emerged as the lowest bidder for a project worth 270 crore rupees from the Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation. Now, the project involves the construction of 10 elevated metro stations and is to be executed within the time frame of 30 months from the date of the contract award. The project includes the construction of 7 elevated metro stations in Reach 3A, namely Hingna, Mount View, Rajiv Nagar, Vanadongri, APMC, Raipur Hingna bus station as well as Hingna. And 3 elevated stations will also be constructed in the Reach 4A at Pardi, Kapsi and Khurd and Transport Nagar. So 10 metro stations to be constructed by RVNL. Positive news flow coming in for the company, given up the gains that it was clocking in the mornings, but nonetheless almost 2% higher is where the stock is at.
Alright, that's RVNL trying to hold the fort in trade today. But let's talk about ONGC then, Foram. How is this one looking on the charts to you? Because ONGC is just like the way how the oil and gas sector moves. It was also dependent on what happens globally when you talk about the crude oil prices. Last 3 months have not been great for ONGC. Do you think better days are ahead?
As you said that yes, it has not been doing that well. So let's just take a little bit of the historical data this year, that the stock price was facing a lot of resistance near 280 to 285. And in the month of July, we did see a good breakout and a 20% upward rally towards 343 in the month of August. And since then, there has been a gradual decline. Now, this decline has resulted the stock price to turn out a little weak. However, from the past, say 1 month to nearly 1.5 months, the stock price has been in this support zone of 280 to 285. And currently, the stock price is very, very close to the 200-day moving average. So some of you all might be holding on to the stock. So for me, currently, it is a hold. But just to be a little cautious, because there is a bit of a divergence on RSI that's negative. So a strict stop loss is advisable, but below the levels of 275. Till then, one can consider to hold on to the stock.
Alright, so that's the view coming in on ONGC. Now, while we're talking about ONGC, the government is planning major reforms to become a gas-based economy, prioritizing gas marketing and pipeline infra as per sources. Now, this will be done through amendments to the PNGRB Act. My colleague Prakash has more details on this. Prakash.
The government is planning a mega reforms, the gas marketing and pipeline infrastructure in the country. What we are learning from our sources is that the reforms are being planned through amendments to the PNGRB. The process has already been initiated. In fact, industry consultation has been completed. And now we are learning from our sources that the Oil Ministry will initiate inter-ministerial consultation to amend PNGRB Act in next 15 days. We are also given to understand that the Oil Ministry is likely to see cabinet nod by December 2024. Along with that, the marketing and pipeline infrastructure will be developed for all kind of new energy sources, be it green hydrogen, green ammonia or compressed biogas. PNGRB will be empowered to regulate a pipeline infrastructure for all kind of energy sources. A transport system operator will be created, and that will manage all common carrier pipelines in the country. TSO will be brought in under the ambit of PNGRB. Sources also informing that the natural gas pipeline of GAIL, including other companies, will be part of TSO. The government may hold majority stake in TSO going forward, and companies like ONGC, HPCL, GAIL, IOCL and EIL may hold equal minority stake in the company.
Thank you, Prakash, for bringing us all of those details based on what the sources have told us. But on that note, we'll slip into a very short break on this edition of Market Fatafat and keep it going with all the buzzers in today's trade just on the other side of this break. So stay tuned. Hi there, welcome back. Thanks so much for staying tuned to Market Fatafat. Let's keep it going about all the stocks that are garnering attention today. And the next one we wish to highlight today is Cochin Shipyard. Now, no surprises here. The stock performed badly yesterday, and this is the second day of negative moves coming in for the stock today as well, 2% lower as we speak. And this is on the note that the government has decided to exercise the green shoe option for its offer for sale for 65.7 lakh shares, representing a further 2.5% of the total paid up share capital. Remember, the government had informed that they are looking at an offer for sale of 5%, out of which 2.5% was the initial offer and 2.5% was the offer for sale. And now the government has gone ahead and initiated that offer for sale as well. Remember, this entire offer for sale has opened for the retail segment today, and accordingly now, on the back of this green shoe option, the total OFS will be up to 1.31 crore equity shares, representing a 5% total paid up share capital, of which 13.1 lakhs, which is 10% of the offer, would be available for the retail category starting today. So on the back of this news flow, the stock is down 2% as we speak.
Alright, so that's Cochin Shipyard that is under pressure, but let's go across to Foram. And Foram, Titagarh Rail, how is this one looking on the charts to you?
I think some of the railway stocks, I think you all made a mention about RVNL also, that which was doing well. So even in the same, I would say the industry part of it, I am finding Titagarh also quite good or attractive to invest. Now, technically speaking, the stock has lost nearly 43% from its highs of 1,868 and formed a low of nearly 1,048, and it has breached possibly all the important moving averages like 50, 100 and 200. However, today we have seen a very good increase in volume, and it's not only today, but in the past couple of days, or I would say like in a fortnight of trading sessions, that the stock price has seen a good accumulation happening, which is indicating that now instead of the stock falling further, there is signs of stability and it's a sign of change in trend. So I wouldn't say that it will have a steep up move, however, but it will consolidate, and that can help the investors to start looking at the stock from an investment perspective. Thus, one can look at a range of investing between 1,050 to around 1,100, and a very strict stop loss can be placed below the levels of around 989. So the risk reward ratio is very much favorable, and the potential upside target for the near term, or I would say at least an intermediate perspective, is closer to 1,300 to 1,350. So overall, it is very much favorable from a risk reward perspective.
Okay, so bullish call coming in on Titagarh Rail from Foram. Gaurav, you've picked out Zydus Life. Now, this is a stock that lost a lot of momentum yesterday. Was trading in the red right now, also under slight bit of a pressure. Tell us what's the news flow and why this stock is trading in the red right now.
Let's understand what has happened in Zydus Life. So MSN Laboratories, which is one of the partners of Zydus Life, has lost a case for generic partner to one of the companies in US. Now what will happen is that the MSN will be blocked for launching the generic version of the drug until the patent expires, which is due in January 2030. Now what happened is that now Macquarie has come up with how can we quantify this impact. So what they are saying is that this the ruling overall was actually unfavorable for the company, because what market was currently baking in was that with the launch of this with this generic tablet, Zydus could have had around 300 million of revenue, which translate into around 10 rupees per share in FY27. But with this, now they are delayed. Now this delivery will be delayed till FY30. So on the back of this, we are seeing a little bit of negative reaction in the stock. Although Macquarie has maintained its outperform rating and a target price of 1,365 rupees, it seems that market is not happy with this news. It is again, the stock is under pressure, so definitely watching out on Zydus Life.
Alright, so that's the news flow on Zydus Life. Let's talk about L&T. This is also in focus because just an hour or so ago, we have this news flow coming in from L&T where they've released a press release. Their hydrocarbon business, L&T Energy Hydrocarbon, has secured a prestigious order under its Advent business vertical from the Government of India, undertaking with a Navratna status and a leading fertilizers and chemicals manufacturer in India. And now we understand that company is RCF is what they have put in their press release as well. This project involves the license, engineering, procurement and construction, which is an EPC deal of a 1200 MTPD NPK fertilizer plant, along with associated utilities and off-site facilities for Rashtriya Chemical Fertilizers, which is RCF, at their Thal unit in the Raigad district. And when they say significant order win is how they have worded this order win. The significant bracket is between 1,000 and 2,500 crore rupees. So this order win ranges anywhere between that amount, but nonetheless it's a significant order win coming in for L&T. It's a substantial amount of between 1,000 and 2,500 crores. So the stock is up more than 1% as we speak.
All right, so that's L&T, that's bucking overall market weakness, trading higher in excess of about 1% or so. But Gaurav, let's talk about Nalco. And why is Nalco in focus?
There is one trigger which is actually playing out for Nalco in favor is that when we talk about US company Alcoa that reported one of the best quarter numbers in 3 years. Now what this company does is that Alcoa is an expert in alumina segment, and Alcoa reported around 138% of jump in the EPS. Now what they have said is that the lower cost along with the higher alumina prices that we have already seen in the market has actually aided in this number, and on this now investors are building a little bit of optimism in Nalco, because when we look at Nalco, it is one of the lowest cost producers for alumina. Alumina production capacity for Nalco stands at around 22.7 lakh metric tons per annum, and with this Nalco has around 60% of its revenue coming up from the alumina segment. On back of the commentary that has come from Alcoa and the outperformance, we have already seen that Alcoa has gone up almost by 10% in the US market. And on the back of this, we are seeing a little bit of optimism in Nalco as well. As we speak, the stock is up more than 3.5%. So definitely watching out on this counter.
Not just Nalco, also if you look at it, Hindalco also is seeing a rub-off effect of that particular development, Snehi.
Well, absolutely, but Hindalco is slightly flat right now, but in the green nonetheless, on the back of these Alcoa numbers being a good set coming around this time. But let's also talk about L&T Tech then in today's trade. And you had a rather mixed set of numbers coming in this time around, but it's the brokerage note impact that is hitting the stock, this one as well. And Cheryl, we have to say brokerages have done quite some damage to our markets today, because take a look at Bajaj Auto, at SRF, and now you also have L&T Tech, which is on their radar today. Citi has maintained its sell rating on L&T Tech, cut the target price to 4,860 from 4,895 earlier. They say that the revenue guidance has been maintained, although it is a tough ask rate for the second half of this year. Investec too has come out with a note on L&T Tech where they've maintained their sell rating, but on the flip side, they've hiked the target price to 4,980 from the earlier 3,960. These are the two brokerage notes coming in on L&T Tech, where sell ratings have been maintained by both of these brokerages. But we also caught up with the management. One-time costs in the second quarter weighed on margins, and this is what the management had to tell us. M.Chheda, MD and CEO of L&T Technology Services. Let's go across and listen in to what he had to say about the margin growth.
Sizing of the pyramid will kick in. There will be a certain degree of improved utilization. There will be and billing across the globe, and we've been working on these parameters. There's some rate hikes planned that will kick in as well in Q3 and then Q4. And then in addition to that, there is some license revenue that should come in based on the 3 products that we have launched about a month ago, or widgets we have launched. We've got a little bit of revenue from that in the current quarter, but we expect in Q3 and Q4 for those also to come in. So given all these levers that we have got, and the fact that some of the investments that we made were one-off and some were continuing, the one-off investments will fall off and provide us the ability to improve our operating margin as we move forward.
All right, so that's the management of L&T Tech. Stock under pressure. Talking about pressure, markets under immense pressure near the day's lowest point. When you talk about the markets, you have also Nifty Bank that's seeing a fall about %. You have the broader markets under pressure in excess of about 1.5%, and Nifty Auto and Realty Index, both of them seeing cuts in excess of about 3.5% as we speak. But Tata Sons board could soon be meeting to discuss Noel Tata's induction into the board. Ankur is here with all the details. Ankur, over to you.
Yes, sources have informed us as Noel Tata is set to be inducted in the board of Tata Sons now. Remember, he was recently appointed as chairman of Tata Trust, and now a board meeting of Tata Sons is likely to be conducted very soon, so that the name of Noel Tata will be discussed, and sources have confirmed to us that he is likely to be appointed in the board. Now there will be 3 members from Tata Trust in the board, along with Noel Tata's appointment. As far as the past proceedings have been concerned, till now you would remember that in 2011 as well, Noel Tata was considered for the post of chairman of Tata Sons earlier, but right now he will only be considered as a board member, And N. Chandrasekaran, who is currently the chairman of Tata Sons, will continue in his role, in his capacity, but definitely Noel Tata will be inducted in the board of Tata Sons, and a board meeting is likely to be conducted for that very soon.
Alright, well, let's focus from that and talk about the Hyundai IPO. Remember, this was a much anticipated IPO that had the markets very excited. We have the subscription patterns so far, and the IPO has been oversubscribed on day 3. Remember, there was some sluggish subscription being seen on the first 2 days, and this momentum has suddenly picked up today, because if you take a look at what these subscriptions are, as of 2:15 p.m., you have QIBs that have subscribed 6.3 times, NIIs still under that entire subscription amount, just 40% subscription coming over there. Retail segment also currently just half subscription of the entire limit is what we have seen, but employees have oversubscribed as well, 1.6 times coming in, and overall this IPO has been subscribed more than 2 times. In fact, it has been oversubscribed more than 2 times, so massive interest in this IPO being seen just on the last day of subscription, Shelly.
Absolutely, last day of subscription, and you are seeing that this particular IPO has been oversubscribed. But we have Anshul Sehgal, who actually spoke on the Hyundai IPO. Let's hear out his take.
In general, I'm not too much of a fan of IPOs or investing in IPOs. No one has any, interest, or I should say, no one has the incentive to really leave money on the table, not the promoter, not the investment bank. So mostly, many of these IPOs are priced fully. And we have seen also in history that once the IPO lists, you get better prices in future, in many instances. Of course, there will be exceptions, but in majority of the instances, that really happens. I'm in this particular case, it's a large company, very well respected in India, and even if one wants to invest in this business, one will, one can do that, but over the long term, you'll get better prices. So I'm on the sideline.
All right, moving on then. The World Investor Week is a global investor awareness campaign celebrated every year across the world by the securities market regulators. The week witnessed a host of investor awareness activities across the globe, and the investors are explained about the importance of investor education as well as protection. This year, World Investor Week is being celebrated in India from October 14 to the 20th, and SEBI is the national coordinator for celebrating World Investor Week 2024 in India. The investors are invited to participate in various investor awareness activities by visiting SEBI's website at investor.sebi.gov.in. And with that, we are totally out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. It's a goodbye from Snehi, myself, and the team that put the show together. Also, thank you so much, Gaurav, Foram, and Ashish for joining us on the show.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.